Of Portugal after going out in the rain, getting milk and all that. I'm finally back, and here we go with Legend, final part, which is Legends, so yeah. And it's because there's kind of like several stories, myths and legends along countries and all that, according to the traditions and historical happenings of each region. The origins are not clearly determined and they have passed from person to person, with important meaning or symbolism for like their country, like in Portugal, Portuguese culture and all. Usually do include some true facts, places or characters, but with mythical or invented qualities, and sometimes they have deep symbolic meaning or include spiritual beliefs on the culture in which they originate from, and are used to explain facts which can be unclear sometimes. And the great power of the stories is the major reason they survive so long, is even for like hundreds of thousands of years and all. And to start everything off with, we're talking about Urgel de Basilos, translates into rooster from Barcelos, as Urgel de Basilos is the unofficial symbol of Portugal, and is represented by a ceramic rooster, and it is represented in various objects such as t-shirts, keychains, tablecloths and all that, as the rooster of Barcelos is difficult to miss, where it appears to be of lively colours or seems to show the love of this life displayed in Portuguese people, and symbolises honesty, integrity, trust and honour. As a legend, there is a legend associated with the icon, as the legend say the inhabitants of Barcelos, a small town in northern Portugal, were quite alarmed with the crime, and this is all more because they could not discover the criminal. And one day a pilgrim on his way to Santiago de Compostela became suspect at once, and the authorities decided to seize him, and in spite of all his oaths and innocence, nobody believed him. Nobody thought it credible, as the man was on his way to worship a well-known saint in Galicia, Spain. And finally he was condemned to death by hanging, and the last request for his execution was to be asked to be brought once more in the presence of a judge who had condemned him. The request was granted, and they led him to a residence of a magistrate. He was just banqueting with some friends, and the convicted man declared again in his innocence, and in the presence of a guest he pointed at the roasted rooster on the table, exclaiming, "My innocence is as certain as a roasted rooster will crow 3 times if I should be hung." Everybody laughed at him, but nobody dared touch the rooster. However, what seemed impossible became reality when the man was to be hung. And at the very moment the roasted rooster stood up on the table and began crowing. Nobody doubted any more the innocence of the condemned man, and he hurried to the gibbet and saw the poor man with a rope around his neck. But when 3 knots had avoided his suffocation, and immediately set free the man, and the man went away in peace. And some years later he returned again to Barcelos to build a monument to praise Saint Tiago and the Holy Virgin. So yeah. Then there's Adamastor. As Adamastor is a Greek type mythological character famed by the Portuguese poet Luís de Camões in an epic poem as Luís Ades, as a symbol of the process of nature Portuguese navigators had to overcome during their discoveries, and Camões gave his creation the story of as one of the giants of Greek mythology who had been spurned by Thetis, and now appearing in the form of a threatening storm cloud to Vasco da Gama, and threatening to ruin anyone strong enough to cross Cape of Torments and sail in the Indian Ocean, which was Adamastor's domain, as Adamastor represented the dangers Portuguese sailors faced when trying to round the Cape of Torments, kind of thing. And maybe let's which sounds interesting to say the least. And then there's Sebastianism, and the most famous Portuguese legend is still remembered today, inspiring songs, literature and art. Sebastianism is a part of the Portuguese mythology and culture, and it means waiting for a hero that will save Portugal and lead it to a fifth empire known as National South. As Fernando Pessoa wrote about his hero to come in an epic poem, the message supporting his ideas on predictions and myths. The name Sebastianism derives from the King Sebastian of Portugal, as Louis, the aforementioned Louis de Camões, wrote the Lusíads in his honour. And Sebastian was a great Portuguese patriot and hero, the sleeping king, who will return to help Portugal in its darkest hour on a misty morning. And then there's also the miracle of the roses, and while as one of the most popular Portuguese queens was Isabel of Aragon, known as Saint Queen Isabel, beloved wife of King Dinis. She is a protagonist of this famous island called the Miracle of the Roses. She came to Portugal when she was 12 years old to marry the king, and she was a legendary beauty and serenity, and enjoyed being helpful towards people in need. And she was also very religious, modest, and was always willing to protect anyone from misery. It's raining again. And one day the queen went out as she usually did to give bread to the poor. King Dinis became very suspicious of her daily visits to the village, because no one came to his room and said, "Forgive me, my lord, if I dare to speak to you on a subject that makes you worried." The king looked at him with some pride. "Say what you intend," he said. And the reply was, "My lord, my king, the queen, your lovely wife, is wasting your fortunes." "What are you saying? Explain yourself now," said the king, and the gentleman bowing continued, "My lord, believe in what I say, the queen is spending more than you can imagine." The king interjected, said, "But how do you know this?" And the lord said, said, "Oh, it is easy to know, my lord, only your good eyes do not want to see the truth, if you allow me." No, the king whistled up. "What, are you mad?" he said, and the gentleman bowed his head and said in a voice somewhat uncertain, "Oh, my lord and king, I just want to help you. Money is lacking, my lord. Your intervention is needed." A shout from the king of Portugal cut off his sentence. "Enough, I know what to do." And he angrily decided to talk to the queen the next day. "No, and he said, 'Where are you going, my lady?' And she said, 'To the convent, my lord.' And the king asked, what are you hiding on your lap?" And the queen hesitated before answering. "These are the roses, my lord, for the convent." I'll just shut my window, considering it's raining again. "These are roses, my lord, for the convent," said the queen, as she hesitated before answering. The king said, "Roses, my queen?" He became really angry. "Roses in winter? Are you trying to deceive me, my queen?" Smoothly, Queen Isabel uncovered her lap and said, "My lord, the queen of Portugal doesn't lie." And everyone saw beautiful snowy roses falling from her lap, where there should be only bread. So yeah, it's kind of like a nice little one. Then there's Aljubarrota Bakeress, and maybe on abruptly a little bit. Her full name was Brutes de Almeida. She was so ugly and so enormous that she looks like a man. And Brutes would be 20 years old when she became an orphan, She did not worry too much about the fact because it gave her an opportunity to become independent and self-sufficient. One day she met a Portuguese soldier who fell in love with her and asked her to marry him, but she did under a condition, a duel, and if he won they could get married. But the soldier almost died and she had to run away and hid herself in Africa. But after some time she sailed back to Portugal and she decided to settle down and started to work as a bakeress. And she took up her arms and joined the Portuguese troops fighting against the Spaniards, and this battle was terrible. But to the Portuguese it was successful nonetheless, and back home, all covered in blood, she was getting close to a bakery. Beatus and his strange feeling something was wrong as the door of the bakery's oven was abnormally closed. 7 foreign soldiers were hidden inside the baker's oven waiting for nightfall, and she killed them all. And after that, started leaving a number of women. British relentless chased Spanish rebels soldiers all around the country, who were hiding in the villages nearby, so she became a symbol of resistance against the invaders. So yeah, some nice little stories there, and yeah. I'll see you all later for the news, and yeah. Bye for now.